Good morning, guys. I'm Diane. I have a step-by-step list of what you need to do if you want to turn a shed into a home, like I did. I love mine. First thing you have to do is figure out how big of a shed you need. And the easiest way to do that is to Google floor plans. If you can only afford an 8x20, then Google the floor plans for an 8x20. It'll have several options for you. So easy. I already had my building, so it was a 14x40. So that's what I Googled and just fit myself into the space. So that's where you start. And did you know these buildings, and you need to buy from a reputable source like the Amish. My son is a building inspector, and he says that their buildings are the best built ones, which is what I actually had. Or the Mennonites. I think it was Mennonites. Okay. You can buy these without having your credit checked, and you just make payments. So if you can save whatever cash you have to finish out the inside and make those small payments on the building. Of course, you have to figure it all out for yourself. However, I sold my home, which I'd only been in for 11 years, so I didn't get that much equity out, but it was $40,000, which was enough for me to finish out my home. So the first thing you do is find a place to put it before you buy it. Now, I put mine in my daughter's backyard. We're out in the county, and we have no regulations about tiny houses or anything here in Alabama, out in the county. So you might want to check on that first and see where you can put yours. I'm trying to figure out what my camera's doing. I guess we're good. I'll just continue. So, if you find a place to put it, check all the codes. Actually call and ask about it. Then you can buy your building. They will bring it to you and level it. Now what I did was I had the ground treated for termites, because it's these buildings are sitting on a skid, a wood skid. So I didn't want that to be like on the ground with possible termites in the ground. So I had the ground sprayed. Then I had 2 truckloads of gravel put on the space where I was going to set the home, because I actually didn't want the grids underneath. Is grids what you call them? Skids. Skids to touch the ground and possibly rot over time. So they're all sitting on gravel. If there's any water underneath, I mean, it will drain. You know, rain might run under it, but it will drain, and it's in the gravel. Anyway, that's what I did. Okay, let me look at my list, because I'm going to do this in order. Okay, the first thing you're going to do is think about the windows. You can leave the windows that are in the house. They're not double paned, not going to be very warm in the winter or cool in the summer. So you might want to consider replacing the windows and even making more holes for more windows, depending on your layout for the inside. That's what I did. Then when I chose my layout, then I chose where I wanted windows. Now, windows can be expensive. I looked on Facebook Marketplace and found a whole set of windows that were just 3 years old that this person had put into an old house and now was deciding to tear down the house, but was selling the windows because they were virtually new. They came from Window World. I know you've heard of that. Very nice windows. Very nice. I bought a whole house full of windows for $325. And I didn't even need all of them. I sold over half of them for $225. So my windows really cost me $100. It's unbelievable. But if you look and plan, you can come out to the better, like I did on the windows. So then, you know, you have to find a laborer that's going to put in the windows correctly, and, you know, use what's that spray stuff inside around so that rain or wind doesn't leak in. Great stuff. That's what it is. So anyway, I had all my windows put in. That's the next step. I suppose doors would be next, but I did not want any doors that opened and shut to take up valuable space in a tiny house. I just didn't want it. I do have 2 barn doors. One goes over the bathroom, and when it's open, it's over the only closet that I have. So it serves double purposes. Okay? So think about your doors. Try to find them on sale somewhere. You know, there are warehouses like listed on Facebook Marketplace that only have like hundreds of windows, hundreds of doors at great prices. If you look, you can find them. So next thing you want to do, which includes an outside door. Let me tell you what I did for my outside doors. I bought 3 sliding doors, all glass. I don't have anyone around me that's going to be looking through my windows at night, so I'm not concerned. Although I do have a drape over a couple of them that I can pull at night. I make drapes, so you know, that didn't cost me much. But the thing about a slider is I put a piece of PVC pipe in the bottom at night, which secures it. No one can open it. If you have a regular door, it can be jimmied or broken into. And I'm not scared, but that is an added plus for me. I know that I'm secure and no one cannot get into my house. Okay, so next is the electrical. You can find a friend that does it. Family member. My ex-husband actually did mine for free. I paid him for the materials and he wired the whole house. But you can ask, if you're on Facebook a lot, you can ask your friends to recommend a good, economical electrician. It's a good way to find them, to find workers. You could look in your area shopper's guide, you know, that lists all these people needing jobs, but you know, that's a hit and a miss. And sometimes people don't show up. Sometimes they leave with your money. A whole bunch of stuff. Always be sure you know, in a roundabout way, whoever's working on your property. And be sure and figure out where you need the plugs to be, so that you're not left with a wall with no plug and you need a plug. Next, I decided on what appliances I needed. I did not want a dishwasher. I'm a dishwasher. I don't need it. It's just me. I did not want a stove. I got a convection oven / microwave. That served me well for 3 years. And then I kind of got tired of convection oven. I just got tired of it. It made a noise. I didn't like it. I decided to buy a stove, which is right there that you can't see. But I bought it at like a warehouse, you know, it's got a scratch on the side or something. Who cares? No one sees that scratch. So I got rid of my convection oven and just bought a small microwave. So I'm good. I bought an apartment fridge. The only thing that I wished I'd have done different about that is I wish the freezer had been on the bottom instead of the top, because it's so small I have to bend over to get stuff out of the fridge. That's the only thing. Then you have to decide on your plumbing. Plumbing is virtually easy. Of course, you have to get it installed at the road that you live on, so it's only in your name, and have it run to your tiny house with another plumber. Same thing about finding a good plumber through Facebook friends, because plumbers can be terribly expensive. Always ask how much it's going to cost before you have it done. Okay, my sink and my bathroom are side by side. Of course, a wall is separating it, but that makes the plumbing easier and less expensive. Now, when I first moved in, I had my drainage for my 2 sinks and my shower run underground. Just run underground. And I only used products that were environmentally safe, which I really didn't like that, but I did it because I love the earth. I want to conserve it for future generations. So that's what I did. I did not have a flushing commode. I bought an electric commode. It was $2,000. Yes, they work. They work. But if you're old like I am and you go to the bathroom a lot, they're going to be running all the time. I mean, when you flush it, which you don't really flush, you just, you know, put things down in the bottom, and then it actually incinerates everything, including toilet paper, turns it all into ash, and then you have to clean out the ash once a week. They say once every 2 weeks if you want to. However, I used it a lot. So you have to open a tray at the bottom. Well, it's kind of hard to open. Didn't like that. And when you would pull out that drawer to empty the ashes would kind of float around, you know what I'm saying? They're so light. I didn't like that. But I kept it for 2 years. And then you know what I did? By the way, the incinerator toilet, you have to buy them, like 100 in a pack of these little things you fold and tape the edges, and it makes a little pocket. That's what you pee in or poop in. And they're made out of paper so that they burn, but they fit right in the top of the toilet. Okay, so I had a bunch of those left. So I just kept using that inside my incinerator toilet, unplugged it, was not going to use it anymore, and I would buy wood pellets from Tractor Supply, fill it with some wood pellets, pee into it, even poop into it, and you could cover it, keep covering it with pellets. Actually, you know, it's just, okay, the word has just left me. Compost toilet, I guess is what you would call it. And then, you know, when it gets full, you just lift up the paper thing, put it in a bag, tie it up, put it in the garbage. Now, to me, that was more simple and a lot cleaner than the incinerator toilet. Plus, it was so expensive. Who wants that? So you think about that. I mean, just the thought of the toilet with pellets is distasteful for some people. But I had no problem with it, and many people don't. Okay, the shower, I bought the whole thing with like a half door that opens, and it's rounded so it fit in the space better. So it's like 32. I think I got the 32 when you can get a 36. I think mine's 32. Plenty of space for me to take a shower. Everything comes with it. And you have to get somebody to put it together. It's got a complete floor in it. You just hook it up to the plumbing. There are simpler ways to do that because I paid $1,100 on Amazon. And you know what? I should have looked on eBay because I bet everything was cheaper. I bet that was on eBay as well. Really, check eBay first before you go anywhere. Okay. My sink is mounted on the wall, very small. I think it's 10 by 9. I mean, it's small. But you know what? I can wash my face there and I can brush my teeth. And if I need to put my makeup somewhere, like when I'm putting it on, I just turn around, put it right there on my washing machine, which is behind me. Just small things, and I think my home is beautiful. I really do. It's beautiful. Okay. The washer dryer is not vented. It's a combo. It washes, then dries. Mine takes about 3 hours for it to do both. I had an expensive one to begin with. It cost $1,500. It took 4.5 hours to go through the cycle. And then it started leaking. So sometimes the most expensive is not the best. So then I went back to that warehouse where I got my stove and bought I think it was $600 for a combo. Might have been $5, I don't know. And I love it. It's worked out fine. But it's unvented is the key word. Okay, then you've got to pick out your kitchen area. I just bought separate cabinets from Home Depot, and they delivered them. Figured out the space next to my fridge. And it's actually 8 foot long, my space. I bought what is this? A wood countertop, where they're put together. What is that called? Chopping block. I think it was $100. It was 8 foot long. Then I, of course, had the sink area cut out and the sink put in. Very simple. And I love it. And I bought 1 or 2 cabinets for the walls. And later, I took those down because I thought it closed in the space, because this was actually my living room also. And put up some shelves that I got from Amazon. They're called floating shelves. Or you could go cheaper and just get a board and paint it yourself, put it up with brackets. Just something simple. looks better to me than the cabinets. Now, I think you can see the cabinet behind me in the corner. It's a tall cabinet. That could be your pantry. It takes up no space. It's sitting in a corner. Holds a lot of stuff. That came from Lowe's or Home Depot. One or the other. Okay. Okay, I get to turn the page. Okay, your cabin that you buy is gonna come painted. You get to pick out the color and the color of your roof. Now the walls inside. Now that you got your plumbing done and your electricity, you're ready to put up the walls. Now I have a bedroom on each end. Of course, there's going to be a wall there. Of course, like I said, you got to go back to Google and look at your floor plans and decide how you're going to do that. I put up a curtain between each of those bedrooms. I did not want a door. Did not want a door. So, this wall where I'm sitting, of course you can see this later, but it only goes part way up, maybe 8 foot. And then there's open space. My ceilings are 10 foot tall. I left them 10 foot. I didn't lower the ceiling to 8 foot because that's just going to close in your space. These buildings have 10 foot ceilings. Use them. Use them. Okay, first you got to insulate all these areas. Didn't want to leave that out. But I did not insulate my walls that I put up. I did not. It's just me. So this wall right here behind this horse, my workroom is on the other side of it. And this wall goes up 8 foot. That way my air conditioner, which is on the other side, can go over and into this room with no problem. Okay, the walls are pieces of plywood. Thin pieces of plywood. I think, well, I mean, they were thin. I had them cut into 8-inch long boards. And I think if you have it done at the lumberyard, that would be cheaper than paying your workers to cut them. I don't know. You might want to check on that. But then they were put up like shiplap. They don't look as good as shiplap, but they work just fine. They work just fine for me. I wanted it to look old, like an old little cabin, which it does. Okay, and you're going to put all of that up. Then have your electrician come back to put the covers on all the plugs. Then you got to get somebody to paint all this wood. Or not. You don't have to. Depends on what you want it to look like. It could really look like a cabin if you just leave it bare. You could do that. I wouldn't spend my time caulking a lot, because if you want it to look like a cabin, you just leave the spaces where they are and let it go. That's what I did. So, okay, now you gotta have air conditioners. I have 2 mini splits. You probably only need one. I only use one. I have one in the workroom that I use when I'm working, and then it's off because I have another one in a sunroom that I built later. But these things can cost $1,100 and $1,200. Go to eBay. I paid $450 for an air conditioner and a heater, and they work great. They work great. They come with instructions on how to put them together. But I'm thinking you need an electrician or someone who is familiar with heating and air to put them in. Just don't forget about eBay. All right, in the winter, I use 2 little fireplaces that adds to the ambiance and the happiness of my home and keeps the house cozy. I mean, the mini splits both work, and I do run both of them in the winter when it's cold. But it is so nice to stand in front of a little heater fireplace to get warm. It just, I couldn't do without them. I love them. So I bought 2 of those. Now your flooring. This is a shed. I'm not going to spend money on flooring. I just spent a few $100s on the cheapest flooring that Lowe's had. And I'm okay with it. I don't care. I knew I had rugs that I was going to use and put down. So you really don't see them anyway. And you don't go, oh, those floors are so cheap. No, they don't look that way. You know, they're just cheap wood floors. So that's what I have for floors. Now, you've got to have steps to get into your home. Some way to get in your home. Now, if you don't have money, you can have someone just build you some steps. Or you could go to a trailer park and buy one of those things if you're old and need help and it's got a rail on it. Something like that. I chose to build a deck in front. I actually had lots of orders during COVID that I wasn't expecting online. I guess because people didn't have anything to do, so they were just sitting around looking online and came into my shop and started buying Roman shades and curtains. I don't know what it was, but I had a good few months while I was living with my daughter. A lot of work. A lot of work is good when you're grieving. Staying busy is the best thing you can do. Another rabbit trail. So, I built a deck all the way across. 10 foot out, 40 foot long. And as it comes up the end here, it meets the ground. So I didn't need any steps. I could just walk to the edge of the porch, step off. Easy peasy. And then in the back, where my workroom is, I had to have gravel put out there because I work. I have UPS and other delivery trucks coming and picking up. I ship every week all over the United States. I don't want that to sound bigger than it is, but I do. And I had to have a porch out there. And I had an incline put in because I was getting older. I didn't want to go up and down steps. And then later, I realized I needed a cover over that porch right outside the door because I couldn't put boxes out to be picked up. If it was raining, had to pay attention when UPS pulled up. So I had that covered. And at the end of the house where my bedroom is, I built a porch. Just because I wanted a coffee porch. And I'm going to tell you the truth. I have been here 5 years and I have never drank coffee out there. Ever. But it sounds good, doesn't it? I have a coffee porch. And last week, 2 weeks ago, I just had that screened in. So I really love it now. My cat can go out there without escaping. My little great-granddaughter that I keep once or twice a month can go out there and play. And I don't worry about her getting bit by a snake or a spider or whatever, or stung. She can go out there and play. and I go sit with her. I mean, it's just a nice little space that I do enjoy. But all of those things are not necessary. If you need a place and you can't afford where you live, try to figure out another way of living. Like I said, I've seen 8 by 20 buildings, which are pretty small, be turned into the cutest little thing ever. It could be treated as a studio apartment where you see your bed, you see everything. I would just like to say one thing about the inside of your house. Please don't build a little boxed in area and put cushions on it and cushions on the back for your couch. Come on, that's not comfortable. You need a place to stretch out and watch TV and be comfortable. You need to be home. Don't do that. Well, I can't afford a couch. Well, can you go to Goodwill, or there's many places around to go find an old sofa, vacuum it, go to Amazon and buy a cover. They have many covers. I have a lounge area in this room right beside me that I got for $70. A big lounge. My dogs and cat fit on it with me when I'm watching TV in the afternoon. And I just bought, it's like zebra. I don't want zebra in my house. So I bought a cover from Amazon. Just covered it. Now it's white. So don't build that sofa. Have a nice place to relax. That's all I'm going to say about that. Okay, if you live... Well, I was going to say this too. While they're working on your, let's call it a cabin, keep it cleaned up on the outside and inside, or it'll be overwhelming. You need to do that every weekend. Go in and sweep, even though they're going to make a mess again. You have to keep ahead of it and keep it cleaned up, or it's just overwhelming. Okay. Another thing I do on my own is I buy home defense from Amazon with a sprayer, and every 3 months I come inside the house right before we go to bed so that the dogs don't get in it or whatever. I spray around every wall in my house. I don't have spiders, bugs, nothing like that. And on the outside, I spray 18 inches out and into the house all the way around. Doesn't take long. It's a tiny space. So I never have any pest problems. So if you want to see my home the week I moved in it, I have a video. I'm going to link it below if you want to walk through it with me. That'll be fine. It was 5 years ago. Things have changed since, but it's the way it looked when I first moved in it. It's gorgeous. I love it. I have no problem with this house. I love it more than any house I've ever lived in. How about that? I also have another link that tells some mistakes I made when I built it, and 20 good things that I did that might be helpful also. If you're planning on doing this, I'll also link that below. And there might be another link of why I'm living here. I don't remember. Anyway, we'll see. Anyway, thank you for being here. I hope I wasn't too long-winded, and I hope it helps somebody. Oh, please. I'm free. I'm free. I'm free. I don't have any bills. I wish that for everybody, especially if you're old. See you next time.